Chapter 331. Haha. This dream is so realistic. Except for the clothes I'm wearing. Isn't this the first time that man tried to grab me? Luo Qingtong said as she threw herself into Yi Qianxian's arms with a smile. The latter was stunned. Before he could react, she had already thrown herself into his arms. Woman you! Yi Qianxian retracted his hand. Just as he was about to say something, his body suddenly stiffened. Luo Qingtong was touching his body. Wow! The feeling of your body is exactly the same as a real person. Are all dreams so realistic now? Yi Qianxian was touched by her until his entire body was hot and dry. He was so stiff that he couldn't speak. His body was transformed from a wisp of his soul. Through the connection of the dragon and phoenix rings, he came to this consciousness space opened up by the 9 netherworld phoenix ring. It could be said that Luo Qingtong touching him now was equivalent to touching him. Woman, have you always been so bold and unrestrained? Yi Qianxian grabbed Luo Qingtong's hand that was constantly touching his body. His voice was hoarse as he looked at her with deep eyes. This woman had previously avoided him like a snake or a scorpion. Why did she suddenly become so enthusiastic? Yi Qianxian was very uncomfortable with Luo Qingtong's hot and cold attitude. No, I'm only bold and unrestrained towards you. Luo Qingtong blinked her eyes and said. Sure enough, this was a dream. This man would actually ask her such a question. How interesting. She thought as she hooked her neck closer to the man and blew into his ear. What's wrong? Lord doesn't like it? Facing a dangerous man in reality, Luo Qingtong naturally kept a respectful distance. But in a dream, it was different. This man was under her control. Of course, she could tease him however she wanted. How could Luo Qingtong let go of such a high-quality man? In fact, if Yi Qianxian wasn't too dangerous in reality, she wouldn't let him go either. The young lady's sweet fragrance seemed to spread rapidly towards his ears with that breath. It was clearly a dream, but Yi Qianxian seemed to smell the sweet scent on her body. You. He tightened his grip on her hand, and his eyes were indescribably deep. In the next second, in front of Luo Qingtong's widened eyes, he suddenly pressed her to the ground. You want to touch me? Come back to the black field with me. You can touch me however you want. His eyes were gloomy as he looked at the young girl, who was like a blossoming peach blossom beneath him. He looked at her mouth that was slightly open due to shock and her eyes that were wide open. He was obviously such an evil and wanton person. But in this moment of surprise, he inexplicably gave people a very lovable feeling. However, Yi Qianxian knew that all of this was just an illusion. As long as this woman was given a chance, she would be able to turn the world upside down. He had never seen such a tormenting woman, but he was deeply trapped inside. Tell me your real name, woman. He gently nibbled on the young girl's delicate lips. His low and hoarse voice was like a demon's coaxing. Tell me where you are, your real identity. This woman clearly liked him. Yi Qianxian's eyes shone. This was the first time he wanted a woman so much. And this woman's hands were moving up and down his body, which meant that she wasn't completely indifferent to him. As if she was tempted by Yi Qianxian's words, Luo Qingtong opened her mouth. Chapter 332. With a whoosh, Yi Qianxian's entire body seemed to be locked up by invisible chains. In the next second, Luo Qingtong, who was lying on top of countless white clouds, suddenly exerted force and pushed him under her body. Lord, are you happy? This is my little gift to you. Luo Qingtong's lips hung an evil smile. Her face, which was already beautiful to begin with, was now set off by a wicked and wanton smile, making her appear even more soul-stirringly beautiful. This kind of beauty even surpassed the beauty of a pure appearance, and directly struck at the heart. Like a soul-sucking demon, Yi Qianxian's 4 limbs were imprisoned by the invisible chains that extended from the surrounding white clouds, and he could only let the girl push him down. This woman. He was deceived by her pretense of being well-behaved and obedient again. Yi Qianxian's heart was filled with a burst of anger. He was angry that he always unconsciously let down his guard when facing this woman. He was also angry that this woman always thought of ways to avoid him. Yi Qianxian's face was dark, but Luo Qingtong's face was indescribably smiling like a flower. Previously, she really thought that she was dreaming, and was prepared to properly take liberties with Yi Qianxian. After all, she couldn't provoke this man in reality, but couldn't she be impudent in a dream? But after the man pushed her down and said those words, she instantly became vigilant. Luo Qingtong originally suspected that the 9 Phoenix ring wasn't an ordinary ring, and it was very likely that it was an extremely precious item on Yi Qianxian's body. Since that was the case, then the connection between the 2 rings couldn't be one-sided. In other words, this man could use this ring to restrain her. And similarly, she could also use this ring to restrain him. The connection between these 2 rings should be equal. They should affect each other. Now it seemed that she had guessed correctly. Just now, she was being pressed down by Yi Qianxian and couldn't move, because she was looking for a way to control this space. Now, she had indeed found it. Be good, don't be angry. Luo Qingtong smiled and leaned over to kiss the man's thin lips, and her smile was indescribably evil. The man lying under her was truly a feast for the eyes, and Luo Qingtong's heart was somewhat stirred. But when she thought of this man's boundless strength in reality, Luo Qingtong instantly withered. Some men could be seen, but not eaten. Eating them could kill. AI. She turned over and sat on Yi Qianxian's body. Her fingers lightly stroked the man's chest. Honorable Lord, tell me, why are you chasing after me so relentlessly? You see, although I've done some bad things to you before, I've made up for it. See, you fainted in the 9 Phoenix Mountain, Eastern Borders Black City, and the Tianyu Empire. Fine, let's forget that incident that time. But I've saved you too. Can we stop revenge when there's an end of it? Tell me, what do I have to do to stop you from catching me? Yi Qianxian was fuming from Luo Qingtong's touch, especially when the girl's fingers occasionally brushed against his sensitive spots. This woman, what exactly does she want? Let go of this lord first, he said with a dark face. I won't let go. Luo Qingtong looked at him from the corner of her eyes, and saw that the man's handsome face was even darker from anger, but he was still shockingly handsome. She couldn't help but lean over and kiss him on the lips. Chapter 333. She licked her lips and said with a smile, It wasn't easy for me to catch you when you weren't paying attention. If I let you go, I'll be the unlucky one. That man's ring was definitely more advanced than hers. Luo Qingtong wouldn't gamble on a fluke. She would never let go of Yi Qianxian. What's more, she had never heard of anyone who didn't want food delivered to their doorstep and sent it back. It was good for men to be like this. Luo Qingtong liked the way he was being suppressed by her. She didn't want to let go of him. Only the current Yi Qianren was her prey that completely belonged to her. The smile on Luo Qingtong's lips was evil. She couldn't touch the real Yi Qianxian, but now she couldn't let go of this Yi Qianxian. Evil eye you. Yi Qianxian was so angry at Luo Qingtong's righteous words that the veins on his forehead were throbbing. This woman was really... Yi Qianxian didn't know what words to use to describe Luo Qingtong. The only thing he was sure of was that this was the boldest and most difficult to see through woman he had ever met. Luo Qi. Just as Yi Qianren was angered by Luo Qingtong until his face turned black, the young lady's voice suddenly rang out. Luo Qingtong leaned over and whispered into his ear. She enunciated every word clearly. My name is Luo Qi. This is my real name. Remember it. This is my only name that is deeply engraved in my soul. Luo Qingtong was raised by a beggar in her previous life. What kind of culture could a beggar have? Luo Qingtong was picked up by him on the 7th of December. She took the beggar's surname Luo and was called Luo Qi. Luo Qingtong was the name she changed after she became famous. Firstly, this name was her first warm memory. She didn't want to take it out and let those who hated her curse at her. Secondly, those people who hated her called her evil eye. Luo Qingtong wanted to go against those people, so she gave herself the name Qingtong. Didn't they say that she was evil? She wanted to clear it. Luo Qingtong's temperament was so evil. Luo Qi? The anger in Yi Qianxian's heart was immediately extinguished by this name. Luo Qingtong might not have known, but in the true Spill continent, only a child that had been completely abandoned by their family would not be given a name. Instead, their name would be replaced by a ranking number. Then he thought about how he had been looking for the other party for so long, but still couldn't find him. With the other party's strength and ability, it was impossible for him to be unknown. There was only one possibility. Her situation was not good, so she needed to hide and cover herself everywhere. Thinking of this, Yi Qianxian's heart suddenly ached for Luo Qingtong. He wasn't so angry that Luo Qingtong was always hiding from him. Let go of this lord. From now on, this lord will protect you. He would never let anyone bully her again. Protect her? Luo Qingtong's heart inexplicably skipped a beat. She looked at the handsome and solemn face of the man beneath her. She didn't know why, but she had an impulse to believe him. But Luo Qingtong looked up and down at Yi Qianxian's movements that she was suppressing. Her lips curved into a sly smile. High Lord has made great progress. You know how to use such words to deceive me. But these are all leftovers from my games. So, High Lord, you should be obedient. I won't be fooled. As she spoke, she leaned over and nibbled on the man's lips. Luo Qi. The veins on Yi Qianxian's forehead bulged again. Chapter 334. Master. A voice suddenly sounded out from outside. Yi Qianxian's mind was drawn out from the 10 directions dragon ring, leaving only a wisp of his soul inside. Come in, he said in a low voice. Yes. The person respectfully waiting outside walked in. It was Zuofei, the person in charge of the intelligence building. Master. Zuofei didn't have the frivolous and enchanting appearance that he had in front of others. Instead, he stood in front of Yi Qianxian with a very serious expression, without the slightest bit of frivolity. Speak. We found out some news from the Lanyue family. This matter involves the young master of the Lanyue family, so we came out a bit late. As Zuofei spoke, he reported the information that Yi Qianxian had asked him to investigate. After the young master returned from Nine Magus Mountain, he was suddenly able to cultivate. The Lanyue family kept this matter a secret, because they were afraid that the people there would cause trouble. My subordinates spent a great deal of effort to find out. And when they went to Eastern Fence Nation's Blackfield branch city, the young master also went with them. If I'm not mistaken, the poison in the young master's body should have been cured by the evil doctor. As Zuofei spoke of Luo Qingtong, his tone was very respectful. Firstly, he understood that his master had feelings for this evil doctor. Secondly, the medical skills that Luo Qingtong had displayed were truly amazing. It had to be known that the poison in the young master's body had been cured by the Blackfield in the past, but almost no one had been able to cure it. Although Elder Yuelao could cure the young master, it would take far too long to guarantee that the young master would be completely unharmed. Not just that, but the herbs required were not something that could be found in the true Spill continent. Thus, he naturally had no intention of doing anything. But after a trip to Nine Magus Mountain, the young master was suddenly healed, and could even cultivate. The young master's matter is still being kept a secret. I'm afraid that it will only be revealed to the public after the Tianyu Empire's the Empire of Qin branch city enrolls students. The Lanyue family wants to use this method to push the young master onto the stage, so that the people there won't dare to act rashly. Yi Qianxian nodded, his expression a bit dispirited. This news was useless to him. If it were before he discovered that Luo Qingtong was evil Dr. Ghost Eye, he might have been happy. But now it was completely useless. But this matter was related to that woman. Thinking about the little boy's true identity, Yi Qianren frowned and ordered Zuofei. Have someone keep an eye on the Lanyue family. Report to me if there are any strange movements. That little showed his identity was not ordinary. The Lanyue family might not have sent out such a grand invitation, just to express their gratitude. Of the sect. Of the heavens. If that was the case, that woman might be involved in the dispute. Since he said that he would protect that woman, then he would definitely protect her. Perhaps through the Lanyue family, he might be able to capture that cunning woman. With her temperament, if she saved that young master, she didn't owe him a favor. She must have hit it off with him. Since she had given him her name in advance, she would definitely appear when she received the news. He only needed to send someone to wait for her. Yes, Zuofei answered and left. Chapter 335. Whoosh. Yi Qianxian's consciousness returned to that wisp of soul. His body was still bound by the chains, but that evil and hateful woman was no longer in this space of consciousness. Luo Qingtong had already mastered how to use the 9 Netherworld Phoenix Ring, so Yi Qianxian couldn't use the Shifeng Dragon Ring to restrain her. If he hadn't wrapped the 9 Netherworld Phoenix Ring with a ball of energy in advance, he might have even lost her position. Thinking of this, the veins on Yi Qianxian's forehead popped again. He pulled his consciousness out of the 10-directional dragon ring and found Zuofei again. Spread a net throughout this sovereign's territory and find a person called Luo Qi, regardless of gender. Do this in secret and don't leak the news. Otherwise, with that woman's craftiness, she would run away without a trace. Although Yi Qianxian doubted whether this was Luo Qingtong's real name, that woman didn't look like she was faking it, so he might as well give it a try. Yes, Zuofei answered. Luo Qi, why was this name so strange? Could it be the name of the evil doctor? Zuofei looked at his master's dark face and tactfully didn't ask. Master must have been defeated by the demonic doctor again. Zuofei thought and glanced at the Shifeng Dragon Ring on Yi Qianxian's left ring finger. He suddenly coughed lightly and said, Actually, Master, women like to hear sweet words. Master, you can try. Every time Master was angered by the evil doctor, they as subordinates were also anxious. If this went on, when would Master be able to win the beauty's heart? And the evil doctor wasn't an ordinary person. Sweet words. Hearing his words, Yi Qianren frowned. He thought about how he and Luo Qingtong would protect her. But in the end, that woman still lied to him, and even bit him on the lips. Thinking of this, Yi Qianxian's face instantly darkened. This sovereign said I would protect her, but she bit me. As Yi Qianxian spoke, he unconsciously raised his hand to touch his lips. That woman was really. But for some reason, Yi Qianxian didn't feel angry at being bitten at all. He only felt a faint pain in the place where he was bitten, mixed with a slight numbness. The soul fragment was connected to the main body, so when Yi Qianxian's soul fragment was bitten, his main body also felt it. He was really poisoned by that woman. Yi Qianxian's heart was filled with hatred. If it was someone else dared to do this, he would have long been torn to pieces. However, that woman treated his dignity as nothing. She kissed him whenever she wanted, and nibbled on him whenever she wanted. She was clearly avoiding him like something. Yet she was baring her fangs and brandishing her claws in places where he couldn't catch her. He really wanted to catch her and teach her a good lesson. Thinking of this, Yi Qianxian's face turned even darker. Cough, cough, cough. Yi Qianxian's words caused Zuofei to cough violently. It can't be right? Bite? So explosive? But his master had already confessed. How could the evil doctor be so indifferent? That's not possible. He stole a glance at Yi Qianxian's darkened face and asked carefully, Master, did you say something at the wrong time? When he said this, Yi Qianxian instantly thought of the time when he was pinned down by Luo Qingtong. What should he say? Should he say that he was careless and fell into that woman's trap? Seeing his master's face suddenly change, Zuofei's heart was filled with alarm. He quickly found an excuse to leave and ran away. Oh my God. If he was any later, he might end up like that idiot Bei Qing. But what exactly did the evil doctor do to make his master so angry? She was really something. Chapter 336. At the same time, the awesome Luo Qingtong had just woken up from her dream. She was lying on the bed, hugging her blanket and laughing mischievously. Yi Qianxian's appearance was simply too amusing. If it wasn't for him suddenly pulling his attention away, Luo Qingtong would have wanted to play for a while longer. It was rare to have the opportunity to tease that man without him being able to resist. Sigh. If she had known that this man was so terrifyingly strong, she would have taken advantage of him a few more times when she first met him. Unfortunately, it was hard to buy that with 1,000 gold coins. Moreover, that man at that time was also not to be trifled with. Luo Qingtong recalled Yi Qianxian's incomparably cold and furious gaze at that time. She immediately squinted her eyes and laughed again. She liked to tease large carnivores, especially men as strong as Yi Qianxian. Unfortunately, the other party's strength was simply too strong. Every time, she had to put in a lot of effort to tease him. Moreover, that man's improvement was too fast, right? Today, he actually knew how to use sweet words to corrode her heart. Fortunately, she wasn't the kind of person who would be charmed by men. If she really let that man go, perhaps the control of that consciousness space would be taken away again. She wasn't going to fall for it. Thinking of this, Luo Qingtong laughed again. However, that man's sweet-talking skills were pretty good. She almost believed that sentence. No one had ever said that they would protect her in front of her. It wasn't that no one said it, but that some people wanted to say it, but they were much weaker than her. As for those people who were stronger than her, Luo Qingtong supported her forehead with her hand and carefully thought about it. She realized that there weren't many of them. Of course, this was referring to her previous life. Hey, why are you laughing so happily by yourself? Little Pig was still in a daze from his sleep. He was almost suffocated by Luo Qingtong's action of rolling around in the blanket. With great difficulty, he crawled out from the blanket. When he saw Luo Qingtong's smiling face, he suddenly shuddered. What's wrong with this woman? His appearance was so horrifying. What's with that expression? Luo Qingtong glared at Little Pig's horrified expression and flicked its nose. Get up. You only know how to eat, drink, and sleep all day, and you're still talking about the ancient divine pig. No matter how ancient you are still a pig. You're insulting my divine pig's reputation. Little Pig jumped up in anger. Was he to blame it for not having the chance to display its strength? It was clear that this woman was too inhuman. He would kill any expert that came. If another one came, he would be beaten to death again. How could there be such a weirdo like her? If it were anyone else, they would have long prostrated themselves in worship. Humph. Luo Qingtong snorted and ignored it. This pig only knew how to twist words and force logic. However, Luo Qingtong could feel that Little Pig was much stronger than when she first met him. It should slowly grow along with her strength. If it wasn't for the fact that he still had some use, Luo Qingtong would have thrown him into the demon-subduing pagoda long ago. Alright, let's go. She stood up and said to Little Pig, Where are we going? Little Pig looked at her and asked, 9 Shaman Mountain. Luo Qingtong narrowed her eyes. It was time for her to tidy up the items in the Tianyu imperial family's treasury. Previously, she hadn't had the time to do so. You guys stay in the Luo residence. I won't see anyone when I'm not around. Kill all trespassers without mercy. Do you understand? Luo Qingtong instructed the group of battle slave experts before she left. Yes, the group of battle slaves answered. Chapter 337. Your Majesty, we got the news that Luo Qingtong has left the Luo family. Should we? In the Dongli Palace, Prince Cheng is reporting to Dongli King with a vicious face. At this moment, his face is full of hatred. When Prince Cheng returns, he finds out that he has also fallen into Luo Qingtong's trap. He thought he wouldn't be poisoned by Luo Qingtong's unknown poison on the platform. However, he did not expect that when he returned to his residence, he would be yelled at as soon as he tried to circulate his energy. This Luo Qingtong is really vicious. That day in the 3 army camp, only she and the people she took away will be fine. The other party is vicious to this extent. This made Prince Cheng, who previously thought that Luo Qingtong was not enough to support the Luo family, shudder in his heart. Fortunately, Luo Qingtong's strength is average. Because of the broken engagement, she offended the royal family of Tianyu. The whole Luo family is worried. This is not their family against them. Luo Qingtong did those things. No matter how arrogant she is, what can she do? It can only alleviate the Luo family's predicament for a while, until the royal family of Tianyu makes a move. They can only wait for bad luck. Prince Cheng hates Luo Qingtong in his heart, but on the surface, he tries to hide it so that Dongli King won't see it. Your Majesty, this is a rare opportunity. Are you stupid or am I stupid? Before the royal family of Tianyu says anything, you dare to touch her? Don't forget, Yuanma will marry no one but her. Dongli King scolds. This is what he and the other people who want to hit the Luo family, when they are down, are most afraid of. Even the Emperor of Tianyu can't win against Yuanma. He would rather be slapped in the face than break the engagement with the Luo family. Do they really dare to touch Luo Qingtong? If not for this, he would have 10,000 reasons to destroy her, and the Luo family, just based on Luo Qingtong's action of crippling the three armies. How can they bear such humiliation? But Chenglu Wangye's face was full of unwillingness. Dongli King ignored him and asked his servant, "Is it certain that the news has reached the imperial family of Tianyu?" "Yes. Furthermore, it was passed to the seventh princess." The attendant replied, "Very good." King Dongli nodded with satisfaction. "Luo Qingtong, oh Luo Qingtong, don't be so arrogant. How dare you embarrass the royal family? How much courage do you think you have? When Tianyu's royal family makes a move, let's see if you can still be so arrogant." King Dongli's face was cold. If it weren't for Luo Qingtong, the Eastern Fence three armies would have become his trump card. The Luo family was about to fall, but Luo Qingtong was still so insensible. Then don't blame him for being ruthless. Originally, he only wanted the three armies of the Eastern Fence line, but Luo Qingtong forced him to destroy the entire Luo clan. At that time, without his backing and being disliked by Tianyu's royal family, he would like to see how miserable Luo Qingtong would be. At that time, even if she cried and knelt in front of him, no one would look at her. Humph! While King Dongli was calculating, Yuan Shui also received news from Dongli country. With one look he was instantly enraged. What kind of trash is this? They can't even deal with the Luo clan? What a bunch of shit-eating rice buckets. Yuan Shui's chest heaved with anger. Before, she gave the idea to the Empress of Tianyu to have Dongli deal with the Luo clan. She thought it would be foolproof and wouldn't involve Tianyu's royal family. Who would have thought that these people would be refuted by Luo Qingtong? This was simply infuriating. Chapter 338. Mother. Tianyu Imperial Palace. Seventh Princess Yuan Shui rushed to the Tianyu Empress residence with a group of servants. The latter had just woken up from her afternoon nap and was being served by servants. Seeing Yuan Shui rush in from outside, she immediately frowned and scolded. "Look at you, what kind of person are you? Do you want to be grounded by your father again?" "Mother." Yuan Shui reluctantly slowed down and walked to the front of the Tianyu Empress with an aggrieved expression. "What's the matter? What's made you so anxious?" The Tianyu Empress looked at her. "Isn't it because of that?" Yuan Shui was about to blurt out when she saw the servants by her mother's side and stopped. "Enough, you can leave. I don't need you to serve me here." Seeing her like this, the Tianyu Empress dismissed the servants by her side, leaving only two of her trusted aides to serve her. "All right, go ahead and say it. What's going on now?" The Tianyu Empress rubbed her forehead and looked at Yuan Shui. "It's all because of that Luo Qingtong." Yuan Shui pouted. "Mother, look, this is news from Dongli's royal family. We said we were going to teach the Luo clan and that old man Luo a lesson and make them regret breaking off the engagement. But look, Luo Qingtong messed everything up." Yuan Shui showed the Tianyu Empress the news from Dongli's royal family. "Mother, we can't let the Luo clan and Luo Qingtong off so easily. Look at her, she's too arrogant. On one hand, she wants to break off the engagement with us, but on the other, she's using her status as Tianyu's future fifth prince's wife to act so arrogantly outside. Look, this is too much of a slap to our royal family's face. Who does Luo Qingtong think she is? Mother, we can't let this go. Otherwise, Luo Qingtong will think that our royal family is willing to compromise and only wants her. She'll climb all over us. She might even think that my royal brother isn't good enough for her. She wouldn't dare." Yuan Shui's words hit the point that Empress Tianyu cared about the most. Tianyu Empress was most proud of the fact that she had given birth to Yuan Mo, a proud son of heaven. The Empire of Qin's Sacred Academy had defeated many geniuses from other empires, and even many geniuses from the Empire of Qin's Sacred Dynasty were no match for him. They were all willing to work for him. It was said that Yuan Mo's development in the holy court of the Empire of Qin was extremely good. He had already gained a foothold among the heaven-rank candidates and was highly regarded by the teachers of the holy court. Every time the Empress of Tianyu gathered with the noble ladies, she would brag about her son and enjoy the admiration of everyone. How could he tolerate Yuan Shui saying that Yuan Mo wasn't worthy of Luo Qingtong? In her opinion, Luo Qingtong was the one who was clinging on to her son. If not for that engagement back then, coupled with Yuanma's resolute refusal to break off the engagement and give up on Luo Qingtong, how could the other party be able to secure the position of the future fifth prince's wife? How many people wanted to marry her son? Even with that person's status, she still favored Yuanmo. Luo Qingtong had caused her son to be unable to have a meteoric rise. And now she was slapping her royal family's face again and again? Who gave her the guts? In an instant, the Empress of Tianyu was enraged by Yu Wenshue's words. Chapter 339. She's really shameless. She incited her grandfather to break off the engagement and disregarded our imperial family's dignity. She even dares to use our imperial family's prestige to act arrogantly. Send a message to Dongli's imperial family. Tianyu's imperial family doesn't care about the Luo clan. As long as Luo Qingtong doesn't die, they can do whatever they want with the Luo clan. It doesn't matter if they're destroyed. Forget it. Yu Wenxue curled her lips. Imperial mother, you didn't see it clearly. Those trash from Dongli's imperial family were crippled by Luo Qingtong. She even brought a group of people back to the Luo clan to form a private army. Now, if you let them attack the Luo clan, I don't know if they can win. They might be destroyed by the Luo clan instead. Speaking of this, Yu Wenxue felt uncomfortable. Luo Qingtong was too lucky. Even without grandfather Luo, the Luo clan still had so many trump cards to protect her. Where did the poison that crippled the Luo clan's army come from? Most likely, her mother left it for her. Thinking of this, Yu Wenxue felt resentful. Even as a princess of the royal family, she did not enjoy the treatment of being surrounded like Luo Qingtong. Her grandfather doted on her, her parents loved her, and she had so many trump cards. Her imperial brother still insisted on marrying her. She gained such a powerful backer for no reason. Even if the Luo clan was no longer glorious, they could still act arrogantly. Thinking of this, she felt unconvinced. How could the legitimate daughter of a marquis of a small inferior country have a better life than her, an imperial princess? She was going to destroy everything she had. If it wasn't for Luo Qingtong, her imperial brother would have agreed to that person's condition. She could have been treated as a princess of a holy dynasty and lived prouder than any other imperial princess. It was all Luo Qingtong's fault. Yu Wenxue didn't dare to blame Yuanma. Naturally, she vented all her anger on Luo Qingtong and the Luo clan. Imperial mother, how about this? We secretly send out a group of savage tiger guards to disguise themselves as bandits and directly destroy the Luo clan. Yu Wenxue shook the empress's arm. Imperial mother, look at those people from Dongli. They're trash from a small inferior country. What can they do? Don't send them to Luo Qingtong again and increase the Luo clan's prestige. Imperial mother, if we do this, then it'll be more and more difficult to deal with Luo Qingtong. After all, although old Master Luo has fallen, the Luo family has not. Now she has the Luo family's iron army. In the future, she'll really give us a look's face. Especially Imperial brother won't. Yu Wenshue's mother. Imperial mother, we have to take this opportunity to knock down her arrogance. Let her know that even if Imperial brother doesn't want to marry anyone but her, she is nothing in front of us. Imperial mother. Yu Wenxue shook Empress Tianyu's hand and said coquettishly, look at what I did to her. She must hate me. She might even hate our imperial family. When? Moved by Yu Wenshue's words, the Empress's expression turned cold. But she still had a bit of reason in her heart. Go find your uncle for this matter. You must do it in secret. Don't let anyone know. Our Tianyu imperial family can't afford to lose that much face. Especially your imperial brother. He can't bear such a heavy scandal. Do you hear me? Tell them to do it cleanly. When the time comes, have the Dongli imperial family cooperate. Yes. Yu Wenxue jumped up in joy. I'll go find my uncle now. Imperial mother, don't worry. I'll definitely do it properly. Chapter 340. 9 Magi Mountain. Luo Qingtong shook off a bunch of people who were following her in the dark, and easily found the valley, where old monster Yin Qi had captured her. Master. Seeing Luo Qingtong appear, the martial king experts who were guarding the valley all greeted her. Yes. Luo Qingtong responded in a low voice and scanned the surroundings. She found that this place had been built very well by the martial king experts. This secluded valley had already become a small base of power. In the future, this place would be the prototype of the Luo family's secret power. It would also be the starting point of her future power. This place will be called Heavenly Evil Valley from now on. Under the Heavenly Tao, I am evil. Luo Qingtong liked the meaning of this name very much. Yes. The crowd nodded in agreement. They had no objections to the name Luo Qingtong came up with. Although the name Luo Qingtong came up with was obviously not righteous, they were not righteous people in the first place. Where is the storehouse? Take me there. Yes. The crowd dispersed. A martial king expert stepped forward and said to Luo Qingtong, "Master, this way please." Yes. Luo Qingtong followed him to a storehouse that had been transformed into a cave. These martial king experts were very good at choosing places. Although the entrance of this storehouse looked narrow, it was a stone cave that had almost hollowed out a small mountain. Luo Qingtong walked in and immediately saw a completely different world. Yes. This place is very good. This storehouse was very hidden. Luo Qingtong only needed to casually set up some formations inside, and it was enough to make it impossible for anyone to come out. If there was an emergency, and it could not be stopped, then she could directly destroy the entire mountain. In this way, unless the opponent was a martial emperor or above, they would not be able to escape from the depths of the mountain when the mountain collapsed. You guys move aside first, Luo Qingtong said to the martial king experts who followed her. These people had already recognized her as their master, and there was no need to doubt their loyalty. Luo Qingtong naturally would not deliberately hide the information about the Tianyu imperial treasury from them. On the contrary, a suitable deterrent could give them confidence. Luo Qingtong now needed these people as her right-hand men. She did not want them to become loyal walking corpses. Yes. The crowd obeyed and retreated. Luo Qingtong took out a few useless rings from her bosom and threw two to Little Pig. Then she released the rest. Boom! Almost in the blink of an eye, countless resources and rare treasures suddenly appeared in this storehouse built from a natural karst cave. Heavens! The crowd couldn't help but be blinded by the appearance of Luo Qingtong's eyes. Everyone squinted their eyes as they stared at the treasures in front of them that were emitting countless rays of light. They were so shocked that their jaws dropped. Mistress, this is... Even though these martial king experts were strong enough to establish a small country, or even become a distinguished guest of an intermediate country, they were still shocked. They had never seen so many treasures and resources. Almost every one of these treasures was of a higher quality than the treasures they had seen before. After all, they were martial king experts. The treasures they used were incomparably powerful. But at this moment, in front of this cave full of treasures, the treasures they owned were completely overshadowed. There were many things inside that even a martial emperor-level expert might not be able to possess. More importantly, they looked at the rings in Luo Qingtong's hands. That was a summaruspatial spiritual artifact. Heavens! The group of people almost couldn't stand still. A martial king expert even supported himself on the wall beside him. Chapter 341. Luo Qingtong's voice rang out. You can choose any one of these items. This is your reward for following me. Also, as she spoke, she tossed the storage rings in her hand to them. Take these storage rings as well. Don't show them to anyone. There are many resources in the 9 Magi Mountain. You can take them all. With these few martial king realm experts, they could do whatever they wanted in the 9 Magi Mountain, except for some of the more dangerous forbidden areas. With these storage rings, they could take whatever resources they wanted in the 9 Magi Mountain. Luo Qingtong wanted to turn the 9 Magi Mountain into her personal treasure trove of resources. In the future, when the Luo family's Iron Army had fully recovered, or even reached a higher level, Luo Qingtong would bring them to the 9 Magi Mountain for training. In the future, the resources of the Luo family and the Heavenly Evil Valley would all be provided by the 9 Magi Mountain. They would no longer need to depend on others. Luo Qingtong's eyes turned cold at the thought of how old Master Luo had been mocked and ridiculed every time he went to the Tianyu Empire to buy resources for the Eastern Fence Army. If not for that, she would not have been so cruel to the Eastern Fence Army. Those people had really let down old Master Luo's previous efforts, adding insult to injury, being ungrateful. All of these were enough for Luo Qingtong to torture them to death. Since they did not want to be humans, and only wanted to be dogs, then they would be useless dogs. Master? All of these were given to them? The group of Martial King Realm experts almost thought that they had heard wrongly. Master said that they could choose any one of these treasures. She even said that she would give all of these Sumeru space spiritual weapons to them. The group of people took the storage rings that Luo Qingtong tossed to them in shock. Was this real? Was this a dream? The group of people imprinted their mental strength on the storage rings, as if they were sleepwalking. Then, they were shocked by the space of a few hundred square meters. This was a Sumeru space ring. They stared at the storage rings in their hands, as if they had seen a ghost. Such a huge Sumeru space ring. If any one of these rings were to spread, it would cause an incomparably huge wave. Now the few of them, each had one. No matter how strong and calm they were, they couldn't help but pinch their own thighs. After that, they were shocked to discover that it was actually true. Oh my God! Normally, these Martial King Realm experts would not be able to come into contact with Sumeru spatial spiritual tools. But Luo Qingtong gave them such a precious Sumeru spatial spiritual tool. Master, what was her background? And these treasures? The group of Martial King Realm experts looked at the rings in their hands, and then looked at the treasures in the cave. In their hearts, they were even more in awe of Luo Qingtong. Master, don't worry, we will definitely protect these rings. Even if we lose our lives, this Sumeru spatial spirit artifact will not be lost. A Martial King expert said with a trembling voice. He held the ring as if it was a rare treasure. Oh, that's not necessary. Luo Qingtong's voice was indifferent. If you accidentally expose yourself and are targeted by others, you can destroy this storage ring. Returning safely is more important. Chapter 342. To Luo Qingtong, these storage rings were nothing more than scraps left over from Tian Mingzi's previous refinement. Little Pig still had a lot of them. More importantly, she would definitely practice the inscription technique in the future. As such, these storage rings were naturally not that important. However, she still had too few experts under her command. It would be best if these Martial King experts did not die. As for the storage rings, it was no big deal if they were destroyed. Just as Little Pig had said, these items might be rare treasures and priceless in the eyes of others. However, to her, they were nothing more than scraps that were slightly useful. Luo Qingtong was more interested in the real Sumeru spatial spiritual tool that Little Pig had described. As for these scraps, she did not really care about them. Mistress, the group of Martial King experts were indescribably moved. Who would dare to say that their lives were more important than these priceless storage rings? Their mistress truly valued and cherished them too much. If they had pledged their loyalty to Luo Qingtong in the past, it was partly because they were forced to acknowledge Luo Qingtong as their mistress, and partly because of Luo Qingtong's strange methods and extraordinary abilities. But now they were sincerely submitting to her from the bottom of their hearts. They were willing to do anything for Luo Qingtong until she no longer needed them. We are willing to die for mistress. The group of people suddenly knelt on the ground. Luo Qingtong replied in a low voice. She then waved her sleeve and said, "That's enough. There's no need to say such sentimental words. Pick one item from here. I will prepare to seal the treasury." Luo Qingtong naturally had to separate the inner and outer vaults like the royal treasury in this huge cave vault. The outer vault stored the resources from the 9 Shamans Mountain, while the inner vault stored the resources from the imperial treasury. Not interfering with each other could also serve as a cover. In the future, only Luo Qingtong could enter the inner vault. Yes, the group of people calmed down and excitedly rushed into the cave. They began to pick out what they wanted from the pile of items. After they had all finished choosing and left, Luo Qingtong raised her hand and directly sealed the treasury. Layers and layers of array lights lit up. Luo Qingtang used the treasures in the royal treasury as array cores and set up layers and layers of arrays. Compared to the overlapping and independent formations she had set up, the formations and mechanisms in the Tianyu royal treasury were child's play. The formations that Luo Qingtang had laid down were almost double-stacked formations, even triple-stacked formations and quadruple-stacked formations. These were all formations within formations, layer upon layer, extremely difficult to solve. If it weren't for the limited space in the cave, and the fact that the reiki of the treasures in the royal treasury could only support up to the 5th layer, Luo Qingtang could continue to stack up. For someone like her who possessed the eye technique, the problems that plagued spirit array masters and the balance of spirit arrays did not exist at all. She could always find the most appropriate point. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. After sealing the treasury, Luo Qingtang began to take inventory of the items inside. She wanted to see if there were any antidotes she needed. After all, even though the antidotes were hard to find, the treasury of the Tianyu royal family had been here for nearly 1,000 years. Perhaps she could find them. Chapter 343. Bang! Dongli Country, Wingay City. In a secluded room in the corner of the Tianyu branch of the Empire of Qin, Luo Xining swept the things in her hands to the ground. Luo Qingtang. Why are you always so lucky? Luo Qingtang's face was ferocious. Under the scattered veil, there was a wound that looked like it was torn by a ferocious beast, from her left cheek to her right cheek. Under such circumstances, it was completely destroyed by Luo Xining's beautiful face. Her face was twisted with anger, like that of a ferocious ghost. Looking at the scar on her face in the mirror, Luo Xining was even angrier. This scar was caused by the encounter with a ferocious beast, after she was rescued by the imperial family of Tianyu. Originally, Luo Xining had taken the healing medicine brought by the imperial family of Tianyu, and her injuries were already healed. It was impossible for her to not be able to fight back against the rank 3 ferocious beast. But inexplicably, just as she was about to dodge, the power in her body suddenly stagnated and disappeared in an instant. Although she recovered quickly, how could she be distracted in a battle? Not to mention that all her power had disappeared. She could not resist at all, and was sent flying by the brown earth bear. Half of her face was smashed. Even though she had taken the medicine in time, it still left a deep scar. Touching the scar on her face, Luo Xining's heart was filled with hatred. She always showed that she was not inferior to Luo Qingtang. But in reality, other than her talent and strength being stronger than Luo Qingtang, she was really not as good as Luo Qingtang in other aspects. Even the face that she was originally proud of had been destroyed. And Luo Qingtang. She thought that the Luo family would fall this time, and Luo Qingtang would become a pitiful person without the family's protection. But now, the new Luo residence that she was so proud of was completely destroyed by Luo Qingtang. Not only that, her carefully planned plan with the imperial family of Tianyu to take over the army was completely destroyed. Not only was the army destroyed, but Luo Qingtang also took some people to the Luo family to build a private army. Everything made Luo Xining angry and frustrated. She had schemed so much and even ordered her father to drug the old man and make him lose his cultivation. But she still could not defeat the entire Luo family and Luo Qingtang. That woman, why did she have a better life than him? Why did she get everything? Because they were both daughters of the Luo family. Even God was on her side. Old Luo's father trusted her so much that he gave her the Luo family's trump card. Or else, she would not have lost so badly. At the thought of this, Luo Xining felt as though her heart was being bitten by countless ants. That strong feeling of unwillingness and resentment almost overwhelmed her. But what she hated the most was that she could not do anything to Luo Qingtang. Even the only hope that the imperial family of Dongli could defeat the Luo family disappeared with the news of the army. Luo Qingtang had so easily crushed everything that she had spent so much effort to obtain into powder. Just as Luo Xining was filled with hatred, a carrier pigeon landed in front of her window. Haha! After reading the letter, Luo Xining was overjoyed. Chapter 344. Luo Xining's smile was cold. The royal family of Tianyu had finally made a move. Or rather, the seventh princess and the empress had finally made a move. It was an elite troop of tiger guards, consisting of hundreds of people. They were all above the general realm, and many of them were in the martial lord realm. The leader was the younger brother of the empress of Tianyu, King Xiaowu of Fiji. He was the young genius of the Fei family, and the pride of the Fei family. He was at the peak of the martial king realm. It was said that he would soon reach the martial royal realm. It was like using a butcher's knife to kill a chicken, for such a troop to deal with a marquee mansion of an inferior country. How could the Luo family survive? Humph. Luo Qingtong. This is what you get for being so arrogant. Luo Xining sneered. The power of the Empire of Tianyu was not something that ordinary countries could compare with. For example, a troop of tiger guards from the Empire of Tianyu was enough to wipe out the small and middle countries. Even the superior countries had to avoid them. What could Luo Qingtong and the Luo family use to fight against them? Her identity as the future fifth prince's wife was nothing in front of these Mang tiger guards. Luo Qingtong, after I strip you of your identity as the fifth prince's wife, what do you have left? I'll wait for you to suffer so much that you wish you were dead. Luo Xining said with a sinister smile on her face. She read the contents of the letter again and sneered. Bandits. Luo Qingtong. How about I turn the show into a reality for you? You escaped death on the Nine Magi Mountain. You won't be so lucky this time. Luo Xining sneered, and threw the other letter in her hand. At the same time, an attendant rushed in from the outside of Dongli Palace. Your Majesty, great news. The royal family of Tianyu has replied. He wants us to be prepared. Tianyu's royal family has already sent out a group of savage tiger guards. When the time comes, they'll quietly kill the Luo clan. Other than Luo Qingtong, the Luo family will be wiped out. Good. King Dongli's gloomy face finally brightened up after reading the letter from his close attendant. Immediately send people to the meeting point and provide them with all the convenience. We've been waiting for them for so long, so get ready to attack. Dongli King wanted to eradicate the Luo family for a long time, but because of the marriage agreement between the other party and the royal family of Tianyu, no matter how impatient he was, he could only endure it. Who would have thought that grandfather Luo would be so foolish as to offend the royal family of Tianyu and cancel the engagement for the sake of his beloved granddaughter? He had given them a chance to uproot them for no reason. As long as the Luo family was eradicated, no one in the Eastern Fence Nation would be able to stop him from carrying out his orders. Even without the Eastern Border Army, the Eastern Border royal family would still be the strongest ruler of the Eastern Border country. He no longer had the disgusting Luo family to constantly suppress him and make him feel helpless. King Dongli had been waiting for this day for a long time. While Luo Xining and Dongli King were busy, Luo Qingtong had found 7 antidotes. Here they are. Luo Qingtong looked at the 7 antidotes in her hand and smiled. The treasury of the royal family of Tianyu was indeed a 1,000-year-old treasure. She had found all 7 antidotes in one go, and there were even more. What's this? Chapter 345. There was a letter in the brocade box where the Heaven and Earth Dragon Soul Herb was placed. Luo Qingtong remembered the strange old man who gave her the Heaven and Earth Dragon Soul Herb. Did he give it to her? Thinking of the strange words he said to her before he left, Luo Qingtong opened the letter curiously. She opened her eyes wide when she saw what she saw. A purple name card appeared in front of Luo Qingtong. The words Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin were especially large on it. Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin? Is this a letter of recommendation? Luo Qingtong turned over the purple name card and found nothing on it except for the words Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin. But the material of the name card seemed to be very special. Luo Qingtong poured her strength into it and found that she couldn't destroy it. Why did the old man give me a letter of recommendation from the Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin? Luo Qingtong looked at the purple name card and found it funny. She thought it was something special. She didn't expect it to be a letter of recommendation from the Holy Academy. However, this recommendation letter seemed to be different from the one that the original owner had received before. Luo Qingtong looked at the purple letter of recommendation from the Holy Academy. She could enter the Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin by herself. She didn't need this at all. But maybe this thing could be used for an unexpected purpose? Luo Qingtong thought. Suddenly, an idea came to her mind. The corners of her lips curled up slightly as she put away the purple name card. Let's make elixirs first. Luo Qingtong's treatment was about to be finished. Then she needed to improve her strength quickly. For people who had abandoned their cultivation and started over again, their experience and comprehension were still there. As long as they had enough strength in their body, they could continue to improve and recover their previous strength. At that time, it would be up to them to make further breakthroughs. The medicinal pills that Luo Qingtong wanted to prepare this time could not be replaced by medicinal liquid. Compared to medicinal liquids, after medicinal herbs were refined into pills, their medicinal properties were preserved more completely, and the medicinal properties were condensed more firmly. More importantly, alchemy could draw in the power of the heavens and the earth, and under the support of that power, the effect of the pill would undergo a great change. Luo Qingtong's dough technique could completely remove the impurities in the medicinal liquid, achieving the 100% medicinal effect that only medicinal pills could achieve. However, the medicinal liquid wouldn't undergo any changes like medicinal pills. Alchemy and medicine refinement were two completely different things. Only after refining medicine to the extreme would one begin to concoct pills. It could be said that the end point of an alchemist was the starting point of an alchemist. Luo Qingtong's eye technique allowed her to completely ignore this step and directly start refining pills. This was an advantage that others could not compare to. Half a tael of sunflower wood, 3 taels of oblivion sea flower. Luo Qingtong added the medicinal herbs according to the formula. What she wanted to refine for Luo Qingtong, and the others were the essence increasing pill and the enlightenment spirit pill. If these two pills were taken together, they would be able to restore Luo Qingtong and the others' wasted cultivation as soon as possible, allowing them to return to their peak. Luo Qingtong wouldn't allow Luo Qingtong and the others to spend another few dozen years slowly cultivating their strength. These two elixirs were created by Luo Qingtong based on the situation of Old Master Luo and the rest. There were no rare alchemy recipes or manuals in the true Spill continent. Everything depended on Luo Qingtong's own exploration. Fortunately, she had her dough technique. As long as she used the right medicine, there shouldn't be a problem. Little Pig stared dumbfoundedly at Luo Qingtong, who was busy adding the herbs and controlling the fire. He was so shocked. This woman was actually refining pills. Alchemy. What couldn't she do? Chapter 346. Bang! The triangular furnace in front of Luo Qingtong was blown to smithereens. A boundless energy rushed out from the furnace. If it weren't for Luo Qingtong and Little Pig running fast, they would have been caught in the blast. Haha! Looking at the shattered cauldron, Little Pig was finally satisfied. So there are things you don't know. I thought you really knew everything. Little Pig laughed mischievously. Then I'm a monster. Luo Qingtong rolled her eyes at Little Pig. What's so great about it? She would soon find out. At the moment of the explosion, Luo Qingtong's eye technique quickly saw the changes in the fusion between the medicinal properties and the world's power. She saw where she failed. She would remember to avoid this place later. However, alchemy was really magical. Compared to alchemy, it was a completely different experience. The fusion between the medicinal properties and the world's power was simply ever-changing. If the medicinal properties were just a little bit off, or if the medicinal properties were just a little bit off, there would immediately be a mutation. Luo Qingtong was in high spirits. This world was really worth exploring. The alchemy books she had memorized in her previous life actually came in handy. It was really incredible. TSK. There's only one furnace left. Luo Qingtong frowned as she looked at the room that was full of holes because of her explosion. The furnace she used for alchemy was taken from the royal treasury of Tianyu's royal family. There was almost no alchemist in true Spill continent. Those furnaces were mostly used as decorations. Tianyu's royal family also collected some, and most of them were rare treasures. At this moment, Luo Qingtong's left and right were about to explode. It seemed that she would have to buy more furnaces as backup. It would be best if she could buy a high-quality furnace. It would be great if she could find a furnace that specialized in alchemy. Luo Qingtong thought as she continued. After several experiments, she had found a way. She didn't dare to say anything about the other pills. But for these 2 pills, she was already 80% sure that she could refine them. While Luo Qingtong was refining pills in the Heavenly Evil Valley, outside Eastern Li Nation's Wengay City, a group of people traveled day and night, and finally arrived at a dense forest outside Wengay City. His Majesty has sent me to receive you. This must be King Xiaowu, right? King Xiaowu was indeed a man of striking appearance. With King Xiaowu's help, the Luo clan will definitely be wiped out this time. The personal attendant sent by King Dongli said with a flattering smile. As the Empress's maternal family, the Fei family had great influence in the Tianyu Empire. The man in front of her was the only brother of Empress Tianyu, and was highly valued by the Fei clan. If he could become a martial emperor in the future, his future would be limitless. Even the emperor of Tianyu thought highly of Fiji. Cut the crap. When are we going to attack? Fiji's voice was cold. His face was hidden under the armor, and could not be seen clearly. However, his tone was extremely impatient. A dignified peak martial king was sent to deal with the marquis of a small inferior country. If it wasn't for his sister's request, he would never have taken action. The Luo clan was not worthy of him taking action. It was truly a stain on his hands. As for the people of Eastern Li Nation, he didn't even bother to look at them. These people didn't even have the qualifications to stand in front of him. King Xiaowu, please wait a moment. My Majesty is making the arrangements. We will attack tonight. At that time, the gates of Wengay City will be open, and the aristocratic families, armies, and even the royal family will be restrained. King Xiaowu can go on a killing spree. No one will stop you. Chapter 347. Tonight at midnight? Fiji raised his head and glanced at the servant. He scoffed at the Dongli royal family's intentions. If he remembered correctly, the Tianyu branch of the Empire of Qin would be recruiting students in 2 days. Were they afraid that something would happen, and the Luo family would be protected by the Tianyu branch? Was that why they wanted to act first? Indeed, if Luo Qingtong really became a student of the Tianyu branch, the Luo family wouldn't be easy to deal with. What's more, they were acting in secret. Therefore, even though Fiji saw through the Dongli royal family's intentions, he didn't say anything. Tonight is the time of the Z period. The sooner they acted, the better. It would save them the trouble of waiting. He raised his hand and waved, and the eunuch tactfully retreated. King Xiaowu wasn't someone they could casually interact with. Furthermore, he obviously wasn't interested in talking to them, so they couldn't disturb him. At the same time, in the Heavenly Evil Valley, Luo Qingtong opened her eyes and looked at the pile of herbs in the cauldron. She was extremely focused. A large amount of the power of heaven and earth was guided into the cauldron and fused with the medicinal power. This process was called medicinal fusion. The next step was to fuse the pills. Luo Qingtong had failed several times in the past. The power of heaven and earth would react violently with the medicinal power, causing the medicinal power to mutate instantly. It would have a completely different effect from the previous herbs. If one had to accurately describe this process, it was like those chemical experiments where 2 different substances were mixed together to form a completely new and different substance. However, the synthesis of substances in chemical experiments was controllable, but alchemy was completely uncontrollable. If the power of heaven and earth was introduced into the same herbs, the pill would be ruined if the timing was slightly wrong. Even the most experienced alchemists couldn't produce a 100% success rate. This was because each herb contained a different amount of medicinal power. When they fused together, the mixed medicinal power would be different. Furthermore, the power of heaven and earth was introduced into the fusion. It was basically impossible to predict the most crucial point. When was the best time to fuse the pills? But now Luo Qingtong wanted to break this rule. The light in her eyes was constantly focused on the ball of medicinal power that was violently fusing with the power of heaven and earth to produce a mutation. Countless numbers floated up and down, flashing past her eyes. The next second, rise. Following her low shout, the ball of medicinal power suddenly combined into one. At the same time, the power of heaven and earth that was pouring into the cauldron was also cut off. Whoosh! At this moment, a thick pill aroma filled the air. Success! Luo Qingtang looked at this scene with a smile. After several failures, she finally grasped the most optimal value of the mixture of medicinal power and heaven and earth energy, which was also the key point of forming the pill. From now on, she would never fail to refine these two pills. No way. Did you really succeed? Little Pig widened his eyes at the side. What a freak! What a freak! Previously, it had rejoiced in Luo Qingtong's furnace explosion, thinking that there was finally something in this world that she couldn't do. But then, it realized that this woman was really crazy. She actually refined two types of pills at the same time. Who the hell dares to refine two types of pills at the same time on their first try? It would be strange if the cauldron didn't explode. Forget about it. How long has it been? She actually succeeded in refining it. She's refining two types of pills at the same time. Even an alchemy master wouldn't dare to do this. Chapter 348. Rumble. Between the heavens and the earth, countless winds and clouds gathered towards the Nine Shaman Mountain. F***CK. It can't be right. She awakened the pill spirit on her first try. Little Pig really admired Luo Qingtang from the bottom of his heart when he sensed the gathering of auras outside. Refining pills was completely different from refining pills. When refining pills, no matter how hard one tried to fuse them, the medicinal properties would fuse with each other. It was impossible to trigger the energy of heaven and earth, let alone cause any changes. More importantly, refining pills was similar to cultivation. It would attract the interference of the laws of heaven and earth. Because refining pills involved the changes of the laws of heaven and earth, some pills would even develop their own consciousness due to the high grade of the materials used to refine them. At that time, it would attract the interference of the heavens. Cultivation was a path that defied the heavens. Refining pills was the same. The higher the grade of the pill, the greater the obstruction it would face from the heavens. Little Pig really didn't expect that Luo Qingtong's first attempt at refining pills would attract the interference of the heavens. This was the kind of treatment that could only be received by a pill that had its spirit awakened. Generally, the pills refined by alchemists were only of common grade. After mixing the medicinal properties with the energy of heaven and earth, it would be considered good if they could retain 20 to 30% of the medicinal properties. Only 50 to 60% of the medicinal properties would attract the interference of the heavens. 70 to 80% of the medicinal properties would attract a heaven and earth phenomenon. Just as Little Pig was thinking about this, countless phoenixes and dragons' cries could be heard outside. Under the backdrop of the stormy clouds, the sky was filled with dazzling multicolored light. F***CK. 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 Little Pig was dumbfounded. He didn't know what to say. A heaven and earth phenomenon. And it was the highest grade pill dragon and phoenix auspicious. The medicinal pills refined by this woman. Just what level had the medicinal strength of the pills retained? Could she be any more perverted? Little Pig felt his stomach ache. This was the first time he saw someone using such low-grade medicinal materials to refine a pill that attracted the interference of the heavens and heaven and earth phenomenon. Luo Qingtang ignored him. Rumble. Wind and thunder rumbled outside, and the cries of dragons and phoenixes resounded. She suddenly felt that the pill in her cauldron had suddenly changed, and the value of the pill's potency skyrocketed. In the next second, swish, the lid of the cauldron was suddenly opened, and a few pills rushed out of it. Crack! Following the appearance of those medicinal pellets, several bolts of lightning as thick as an arm descended from the sky and struck those medicinal pellets. The cave Luo Qingtang was in was completely split open. The lightning bolts struck towards the pills. Stop them! Little Pig panicked when he saw this scene. They're here to destroy these pills. Also be careful, these medicinal pills will run away. How could Little Pig have imagined that Luo Qingtong could actually use such low-grade ingredients to refine a spirit-opening pill? It was simply inconceivable. This pill definitely surpassed the category of common grade. He didn't know how Luo Qingtong did it. But in the next second, it regretted saying the wrong thing. Damn, this is the heavenly law. It actually asked Luo Qingtong to stop them. This wasn't before it was sealed. Hey. I was wrong. Come back quickly, don't stop them. Little Pig stomped his hooves and shouted anxiously. He also rushed out with a swish. At this time, Luo Qingtong had already arrived in front of those medicinal pellets. With a swish, she raised her hand and grabbed those medicinal pellets. Then, she raised her head and faced the lightning bolts. She could feel the vast and powerful energy coming from the lightning bolts. It was even stronger than the energy of the Sage Realm experts she had felt before. Luo Qingtong cursed Little Pig 800 times in her heart. Fortunately, Little Pig also rushed over at this time and shouted at her. Throw away those medicinal pellets in your hand. Chapter 349. She felt waves of energy coming from the life and death sword in her mind. It seemed like it wanted to come out. Luo Qingtong sensed the energy waves and found that it was indeed restless. It was targeting the heavenly Tao's energy. Luo Qingtong thought for a moment and raised her hand to release it. Swoosh! The life and death sword instantly shone brightly with black and white light. Luo Qingtong held the sword and slashed at the lightning that was striking down from the sky. F***ck. Don't! Little Pig's eyes widened when he saw this scene. Even if this woman wants to die, she shouldn't do it like this. The heavenly Tao's energy was not something she could contend against. Don't be so stubborn at a time like this. Little Pig had to hand it to Luo Qingtong. Seeing her rushing towards the lightning bolts, Little Pig felt an indescribable pain in his heart. Let's fight. What sin have I committed to have met such a perverted master who doesn't play by the rules? Since Luo Qingtong would die if she died, Little Pig rushed towards Luo Qingtong without any hesitation. As he rushed, his small body emitted a faint light. However, before it could reach Luo Qingtong was stunned. Kacha! The lightning bolts that carried boundless power were instantly cut in half by Luo Qingtong's sword. In the next second, they disappeared under everyone's shocked gazes. That's right, they disappeared. Everyone was dumbfounded by this scene. Little Pig had just arrived in front of Luo Qingtong, and before he could use his trump card, he saw that everything was over. Luo Qingtong floated to the ground. Rumble! The dark clouds in the sky rolled. After the lightning bolts were scattered, they also disappeared. In the blink of an eye, the sky was restored to its previous clear and bright state. Master! The experts, who had been stunned for a long time, finally regained their senses and hurriedly rushed towards Luo Qingtong. They still didn't know what had happened. She only saw the lightning strike towards her master, and then it was smashed into pieces by her master's backhand. That was heavenly thunder and lightning. The group of people looked at Luo Qingtong with shock and awe. They did not know the true power of the lightning, nor did they know that it was not something that ordinary people could resist. His master's ability was truly unfathomable. Little Pig was the most shocked of all. It rubbed its eyes with its hooves and blinked hard to make sure it wasn't dreaming. F***ck. It stared dumbfoundedly at Luo Qingtong, who was completely unscathed. It didn't know what to say. How could she resist the power of the heavenly law? Was this woman trying to ascend to heaven? However, only Luo Qingtong knew that those lightning bolts were not destroyed by her. Instead, they were absorbed by the life and death dual rights sword in her hand. Luo Qingtong lowered her head and looked at the black and white sword in her hand. For the first time, she had a strong interest in this treasure that Tianmingzi gave her. She looked at the flowing inscription patterns on the sword. The power of those lightning bolts was obviously absorbed by these inscription patterns. Interesting divine inscriptions? Luo Qingtong looked at these inscription patterns thoughtfully and put away the life and death dual rights sword. Chapter 350. How much do you know about inscriptions? Luo Qingtong looked at Little Pig and asked. After this experience, Luo Qingtong was obviously more interested in inscriptions. The inscriptions on the life and death sword could absorb heavenly energy to replenish itself. Moreover, this was an incomplete inscription. If the inscriptions were complete, how powerful would the life and death sword be? Luo Qingtong was very excited about this. Was it because of that sword that you shattered those lightning bolts? Little Pig immediately reacted when he heard Luo Qingtong's question. How could this woman be so powerful? She could even shatter heavenly energy in a matter of minutes. Then she would truly be a monster. So it was because of that sword. Yes. Luo Qingtong nodded. It absorbed those lightning bolts. Are inscriptions really that powerful? Of course. Little Pig nodded. You haven't come into contact with inscriptions yet. Of course, I don't know much about it either. But inscriptions are really powerful. I told you before that making spatial spiritual tools is just a small path. Do you know? When you become proficient in inscriptions, you can learn how to make spatial spiritual tools. It's not a storage space, but a real spiritual tool for killing. Little Pig said. A spatial spiritual tool can use the power of space to kill the opponent. It can shatter space and strangle space. Think about how powerful it is. Even if a powerful inscription master's cultivation talent is average, and his strength is weak, with his powerful inscription technique, no one dares to bully him. Not to mention the various uses of inscriptions. There are elixir inscriptions, weapon inscriptions, human inscriptions. Little Pig listed out all kinds of benefits to Luo Qingtong. If inscriptions are engraved on elixirs, they can increase the elixir's efficacy. If inscriptions are engraved on spiritual tools, they can increase the power of those spiritual tools. If inscriptions are engraved on a human body, they can increase the human's ability in all aspects. Do you think inscriptions are powerful or not? Then why didn't you mention it before? Luo Qingtong raised her eyebrows and looked at Little Pig. If inscriptions were so powerful, why didn't this pig encourage her to learn them? This was not like it. This pig could not wait to show off whenever it had something good. Just look at those useless rings it had taken out before. I want to say it too. Little Pig was depressed by her question. However, that old geezer Tian Mingzi is the supreme master of this Tao. I've flipped through all the books he left for you, but there's no basic foundation. Otherwise, how could it resist showing off? That was because there was no chance. No wonder that damned old man was so excited after knowing that Luo Qingtong's talent in alchemy was astonishing, and wanted to pass his mantle to her no matter what. Besides himself, there was probably another reason, and it was that if he passed down the Tao of inscriptions to others, it would absolutely be lost in a matter of minutes. There wasn't even an introductory manual, so how was anyone supposed to learn it? However, it also knew that it couldn't blame Tian Mingzi. Their sect was already standing at the pinnacle of the Tao of inscriptions. Those introductory manuals couldn't be stored in the 9-story exquisite pagoda. It only thought of this when it escaped with all its might, but it was already too late. Otherwise, why would it cling on to Luo Qingtong, this life-saving straw? If it wanted to pass on its mantle, it could even give up on revenge. Luo Qingtong was also speechless by Little Pig's words. At this moment, she felt a movement in her palm. Only then did she remember that she still had a few medicinal pills in her hand. These medicinal pills can be taken back for Grandpa to consume. Luo Qingtong chuckled when she felt the medicinal pills moving restlessly in her palm. Then she sealed them in a medicine bottle. Let's go. I'll refine some more and then go back. As for the matter of inscriptions, let's talk about it later. Chapter 351. Dongli Nation, Wengay City. Old Master Chu wore a worried look. Recalling what the king had said to them today, he couldn't sit still. Tonight, the people assigned to the defense of the 4 gates should withdraw. No matter what you hear, the guards are not to move. In addition, all of you noble houses must restrain your subordinates. No matter what happens in this city, it has nothing to do with you. Do you understand? No one is to leave without permission. Dongli King's expression was fierce. Tianyu's empress had sent the ferocious Tiger Guard to eliminate the Luo clan. This was a great opportunity for him. He wouldn't allow anyone to stop him. Many of these noble houses were on good terms with the Luo clan. His warning was for them to consider their options and not go down the wrong path. Otherwise, they couldn't blame him for settling the score later. If he could eliminate the Luo clan, would he be afraid of eliminating a few more noble houses? Yes, Your Majesty. The patriarchs of the aristocratic families were all frightened by his words. They didn't know what was going to happen tonight. They had a bad feeling about it. As for old Master Chu, his heart was in turmoil when he saw Dongli King's gaze on him. If he guessed correctly, what happened tonight was most likely related to the Luo clan. Was the king preparing to make a move on the Luo clan? Old Master Luo had worked hard for Dongli Nation for half his life, using the Luo clan's resources to supplement the nation's fortunes time and time again. With the marriage agreement between the Luo clan and Tianyu's imperial family, the neighboring nations didn't dare invade Dongli Nation. Now that the king saw the Luo clan in trouble, not only did he want to kick them while they were down, he even wanted to exterminate them, destroy the entire Luo clan. But Luo Qingtong still had an engagement with Tianyu's imperial family. As long as the two clans didn't break off the engagement, the king wouldn't dare make a move on the Luo clan. Suddenly, old Master Chu thought of a possibility as the color drained from his face. Did Tianyu's imperial family make a move themselves? With this thought in mind, old Master Chu's heart sank. If that was the case, then the Luo clan would be doomed this time. But, for the sake of face, the royal family of Tianyu would definitely hide their actions and find a reason to do so. Therefore, they couldn't act in the name of Tianyu's imperial family. If he wanted to help the Luo family, there was still a chance. As long as he doesn't listen to His Majesty. But was it worth it? For the Luo family, was it worth sacrificing the entire Chu family? Old Master Chu's heart burned with anxiety. He paced back and forth in the hall as scenes flashed through his mind. He and old Master Luo had quarreled for half of their lives, but they both admired each other's character. Although he didn't get along with old Luo, he had heard people talking about him. Old Luo told others that he was an upright and tough man, who wasn't afraid of the Luo family's reputation. Old man Luo, your life isn't worth it. Old Master Chu couldn't help but cry when he thought of this. Both of them were devoted to the country, but the royal family didn't care about them. Without the lips, the teeth would feel cold. Old Master Chu didn't know if the Chu family would be next after the Luo family. Thinking of this, he gritted his teeth and summoned his son. Send someone to keep an eye on the Luo clan. If there's any movement, report it immediately. Yes, father. Although he was surprised, the latter obeyed and left. Old Master Chu sighed heavily as he watched his son's departing figure. Chapter 352. It was midnight. The bright moon hung high in the sky. The clouds in the sky gathered and dissipated, surrounding and cutting the moonlight into various shapes. In the middle of the night, there was no sound at all. Clop, clop, clop. The muffled sound of hooves suddenly rang out from the east gate of Wingay's city. But the guards acted as if they didn't hear anything. The east gate was wide open. Fiji led a group of disguised ferocious tiger guards through the gate. Eft. Fiji sneered when he saw that there was no one around. No one on the street came out to look at the muffled sound of hooves. The Duke of Dongli really couldn't wait to destroy the Luo clan. He really had everything planned out. Just as well, he wanted to end this as soon as possible. Let's go. After identifying the direction, Fiji waved his hand and led his men in the direction of the Luo clan. Today was the day the Luo clan would be destroyed. Clang! Dark night, sword light, moon, and murderous intent. At the same time, the Chu clan members who had been keeping an eye on the Luo clan gasped when they saw the ferocious tiger guards charging towards the Luo clan. They hurried back to report. Father, the Luo clan is in trouble. The eldest son of the Chu clan said hurriedly. In the main hall of the Chu clan, old Master Chu suddenly stood up. Quick! Gather the men. We're going to the Luo clan. Beat the drums and gongs along the way and wake everyone up. If the imperial family of Tianyu was involved, the Chu clan wouldn't be able to do anything. But if the entire city was alarmed, the imperial family would have to retreat if they didn't want to tarnish their reputation. That way the Luo clan would be safe. But just as the Chu clan's men were gathered, there was a commotion outside the door. Cheng Luwangye's face was gloomy as he led the imperial guards to surround the entire Chu family. It's late and the dew is heavy. Where is Marquis Ding going? Humph, that old thing. I knew he was up to no good. He helped the Luo clan before. And now he's going to ruin our plans. But he didn't know that they had their eyes on him. His Majesty's words were not only an order, but also a warning. Who would have thought that he would really move? This old fart wanted to follow in the footsteps of the Luo clan, right? Cheng Luwangye's eyes were cold. It's already late at night. Marquis Ding should stay at home. It's midnight and 100 ghosts are traveling at night. Don't be careless and bump into anything. That would be bad. His words were ruthless and meaningful. How could old Master Chu not understand? As expected, Tianyu's royal family made a move. His Majesty, on the other hand, had always been on guard against him helping the Luo family. He had long sent people to guard the Chu residence. This time, the Luo clan was really doomed. Old Master Chu slumped into his chair. At the same time, bang! The door of the Luo residence was kicked open. Fiji's eyes were cold, and the face hidden under the armor was full of murderous intent. He waved his hand fiercely. Kill! Except for Luo Qingtong. The entire Luo clan will be wiped out. At the same time, in the heavenly evil valley, Luo Qingtong had just finished refining the pills needed by the Luo clan's iron army. She slightly changed the time of refining the pills, so that the medicinal power in the pills wouldn't be so strong. Thus, it didn't attract the interference of the heavenly Tao. She put away the pills, and prepared to refine the antidote for her poison. At this time, whoosh! Chapter 353. Whoosh! The bloody light in Luo Qingtong's eyes was sharp. She raised her head abruptly. Grandfather! Luo Qingtong's voice was cold. In the next second, her figure suddenly rushed out of the room, and stood on the tallest tree in the valley. Cloud-piercing arrow! Before Luo Qingtong left, she gave it to the battle slave experts to ignite in case of an emergency. A crisis that could make a group of martial lord realm battle slave experts unable to deal with the bloody light in Luo Qingtong's eyes was piercingly cold. Everyone from Evil Valley, follow me back to Wingay City. As she spoke, she raised her hand and released the spirit ship from the waist ring. Whoosh! The moment Luo Qingtong spoke, the people from Evil Valley had already gathered from all directions. Seeing the spirit ship, they were not surprised. Their master could even take out a similar spatial artifact of several hundred square meters. What was a spirit ship? But they did not know why their master wanted to go to Wingay City. But since it was Luo Qingtong's order, they naturally would not disobey. The group boarded the spirit ship one after another. With a wave of Luo Qingtong's hand, the spirit ship suddenly soared and flew straight in the direction of Wingay City. On the other hand, Luo Qingtong took out a Luosha mask and put it on herself. Her bright red dress was also changed into men's clothing. It was still a fiery red, but this time it represented the bloodlust of Azura purgatory. Those who dared to touch the Luo family and her grandfather were courting death. At the same time, in the Luo family, Fiji rushed in with his people and felt something was wrong. Who are you? The people who rushed out in front were all at the martial lord realm. When did the Luo family have such strong strength? Among them, there were even peak martial lord experts. Looking at these people blocking his way, Fiji's face was indescribably cold. The Luo family actually hid such power in private. No wonder Luo Qingtong dared to be so arrogant in Dongli country. It was said that she relied on her status as the future wife of Tianyu's fifth prince. But now it seemed that it was because of the Luo clan's strength. The Luo family had really hidden themselves well. If it wasn't for his sister's request for him to come in order to conceal their actions, he was afraid that this group of Mang tiger guards wouldn't have returned. But now Fiji sneered. What tyrannical strength! In front of him, all of them were useless. Kill. The few of you. Go find Grandpa Luo and kill him. Leave these people to me, he ordered coldly. Yes. A few of his trusted aides answered and prepared to leave. However, before they could make a move, rays of light from a formation lit up above the Luo residence, suddenly enveloping them. Rumble! The array formation's light intertwined and reflected the attacks of Fiji and the others. At the same time, powerful attacks burst out from the formation and blasted toward Fiji and the others. Damn it! There's an array formation in the Luo residence. Fiji was almost injured by his own attack. Just as he steadied himself, he saw one attack after another mixed with the attacks of the martial lord realm experts, rushing towards him and the others. The attacks of the array formation were so powerful that he didn't dare to take them head-on. He could only dodge them. At this time, outside the Luo residence, Luo Xinning, with a veil covering her face, stood in the dark and watched the array formation light up above the Luo residence. She gritted her teeth in anger. Spiritual Array Master. Last time, she almost died in the Luo residence because of the array formation light. But now... Chapter 354. Boom! A black object was thrown out by her. It was the heavenly lightning seed that Luo Xinning got from Elder Chu. It was a one-time use spiritual weapon that could break arrays. The array was difficult to break from the inside, but it was much easier from the outside. Luo Xinning used the ferocious tiger guards to see where the eye of the array was, and threw a heavenly lightning seed over. Instantly, the eye of the array was broken. The light of the array above the Luo family became sluggish, and its power was greatly reduced. It was not completely broken. Luo Xinning gritted her teeth. How powerful was the Spirit Array Master protecting the Luo clan? According to Elder Chu, he only got a few heavenly lightning seeds by chance. Even an array that could trap a martial king was useless against him. This only reduced the power of the array above the Luo family. But this was enough. Seeing that Fiji and the rest had broken free from the suppression of the array, they started to fight back. Luo Xinning sneered in her heart and ordered the people around her. Go! You can do whatever you want with the beautiful young lady of the Luo family. Remember, after you are done with her, scratch her face and sell her far away. I want the worst brothel to entertain the most disgusting guests. The royal family of Tianyu would not touch Luo Qingtong? She would. How could Luo Xinning let Luo Qingtong go? Luo Qingtong would be in so much pain that she wished she was dead. She wanted to see if the fifth prince would still want her after her chastity was destroyed. As for the blame, the ferocious tiger guards would take it. Who would know that she was the one who did it? Luo Xinning sneered. Yes. Don't worry, Miss Ning. We will do our best to get things done for you. The bandits that Luo Xinning found were the most vicious and evil ones. They heard that they could get something for free, and that someone would take the blame for them. They just wanted to enjoy it. How could they not agree? They rubbed their palms together and sneaked towards the Luo family. However, they did not know that they were not going to a beautiful and gentle place, but a bloody cave of bones. When they realized it, it was too late. Rumble! The power of the array in the Luo family was greatly reduced. Instantly, Fiji and the others reacted. Fiji was enraged that he was forced into such a sorry state by the array formation. He looked at those martial Marquis realm battle slave experts, who were risking their lives to block in front of him. His expression extremely cold and furious. These people from the Luo family all deserve to die. Scram! With a palm strike, he sent a martial lord realm expert flying. He coldly shouted, "Everyone present, kill them all. Leave no one alive." Yes, the group of Mang Tiger guards heard the order, and immediately rushed towards the group of battle slaves. The Mang Tiger guards had more experts than the battle slaves. Among the 100 or so people, nearly half of them were martial Marquis experts. The battle slaves were no match for them. Go! Retreat to the old master's courtyard and guard it with your life. Don't retreat a single step. They had already sent out a whistling arrow to inform their master. Presumably, the latter would arrive soon. He couldn't let anything happen to old Master Luo. Fortunately, the Luo clan's iron guards had all been sent to the side courtyard to recuperate. Otherwise, if they were to stay here, they would not be able to take care of them, and would only end up dead. The group of people retreated as they fought. At this moment, boom! Chapter 355. Old Master Luo. Seeing this scene, The eyes of all the battle slaves turned red with envy. Before their master left, he had told them that they must protect the old man well. Old Master Luo was recuperating and could not move at will. If Old Master Luo was hurt by these people, how could they face their master? They might as well kill themselves one by one. Bang! The martial Marquis realm experts who were fighting with the Mang Tiger Guards did not care about their injuries. They took a hit and retreated from the battle. They rushed toward Old Master Luo's courtyard. However, it was too late. They watched helplessly as the Fijians rushed into Old Master Luo's courtyard. At this moment, bang! A blood-red figure instantly descended from the sky like a red lightning bolt in the dark night. He appeared in front of the few trusted aides of Fiji and lifted his leg to kick the person who was in the lead away. In the next second, a pure black light shone. In the dark night, the pure black light was like the scythe of the Grim Reaper. It drew a cold and murderous arc in the air. Swoosh! In an instant, fresh blood splattered out, dyeing the dark night sky that was covered by the moonlight saber light a dark red. Kill all of them. After cutting the throats of the two Fiji followers who wanted to rush into Old Master Luo's room, Luo Qingtong held the death blade and stood at the door of Old Master Luo's room. The eyes on the Rakshasa ghost mask were deep and cold. Midnight 100 Ghosts Parade. She was the biggest demon in the world. How dare they touch her grandfather? Luo Qingtong's eyes flashed with a bloody light. Just a bit more, and these people would have barged in. These people deserve to die. Kill them all. Leave no one alive. Fiji had just mentioned these people. Now they were all returned by Luo Qingtong. Rumble. In the sky above Grandfather Luo's courtyard, a group of figures suddenly descended. They were the people from the Evil Valley, who were one step behind Luo Qingtong. The huge spirit ship stopped in the sky above the Luo family. Figures with strong auras floated down from the ship. Yes, Master. Hearing Luo Qingtong's words, everyone agreed. They raised their hands and attacked the stupefied Mang Tiger Guards. The battle slaves below, who had suffered heavy casualties, were all overjoyed when they saw Luo Qingtong appear. Master, those who are seriously injured, go and treat your wounds. Luo Qingtong's voice was cold. If you can still fight, equip yourself with these. As she spoke, she raised her hand and tossed over a useless ring. Inside were the weapons and armors she picked out from Tianyu's royal treasury. These were the treasures of Tianyu's royal family for thousands of years. Every piece of these weapons and armors could make martial kings and martial emperors exclaim in surprise. But now Luo Qingtong had easily tossed him to a group of powerful battle slaves. Good things were meant to be used. The improvement of one's strength was always more useful than looking at them. Luo Qingtong would never be stingy with giving benefits to those who worked for her. As for her enemies, Luo Qingtong looked coldly at Fiji and the others. Swoosh! She leaped up and charged towards the group of ferocious tiger guards. At the same time, she suddenly made a series of hand seals. Chapter 356. Wait! Fiji was caught off guard by this sudden turn of events. He looked at the group of Martial King realm experts rushing towards them in the dark night, and then looked at the Rakshasa ghost mask on Luo Qingtong's face. He was extremely shocked. Evil Dr. Ghost Eye, is there a misunderstanding between us? They were only here to destroy the Luo clan. Why would the evil Dr. Ghost Eye, who was so popular in the Black Field, appear in the Luo clan and attack them in anger? Could it be that the Luo clan was related to evil Dr. Ghost Eye? But why didn't they get any information? One had to know that the outside world was going crazy trying to find this person. All the major forces and aristocratic families were inquiring about this person's whereabouts. Even the Tianyu Empire was no exception. This person's medical skills were amazing. Most importantly, she had a very good relationship with the Black Field. It was said that the Black Field's bloody arena had warned the Chung clan of a superior country, because one of her subordinates had been kidnapped. During her disappearance, the Supreme Black Field had personally inquired about her whereabouts everywhere. They couldn't wait to befriend such a person, but now they had offended her? Fiji was anxious and angry. He wanted to explain himself. However, haha, Luo Qingtong sneered. Misunderstanding. She backhanded her sword, and stabbed it into the stomach of a verdant tiger guard. In the next second, she pulled out her death blade and kicked the verdant tiger guard away. That ferocious ghost face just stared at him quietly. No, there's no misunderstanding between us. Luo Qingtong's voice was cold and harsh. Those who touch the Luo clan will die. As she spoke, she waved her sword. In an instant, the group of martial king realm experts surrounded Fiji. Their actions were extremely ruthless. The surviving battle slaves, after being equipped with the armors and weapons given to them by Luo Qingtong, also surrounded the Mang Tiger Guard. The Mang Tiger Guards, who were originally arrogant and unscrupulous in the Luo clan, were now like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. They were panicked and terrified, as they were slaughtered by the people brought by Luo Qingtong. They simply had no power to fight back. Evil Dr. Ghost Eye, there must be some misunderstanding. Fiji begged for mercy as he resisted. I'm Fiji, the legitimate son of the Fei family of the Tianyu Empire's empress. We're here to target the Luo clan. If there is anything that disturbs Sir Evil Dr. Ghost Eye, we can leave immediately. Let's just pretend that nothing happened. Lord Evil Dr. Gui Tong. I am the son of the Fei clan, the younger brother of the empress. If you kill me, it won't be good for you or the Luo family. Please be magnanimous and let us go. Fiji's face was covered in cold sweat. At this moment, he had completely forgotten about Empress Tianyu's order to never reveal his identity. If he didn't reveal his identity, he would die here. The Luo clan was related to Evil Dr. Ghost Eye. Moreover, the other party was so protective of him. If he had known, he would never have agreed to his sister's request to come here and exterminate the Luo clan. Fiji's heart was filled with regret. He looked at Luo Qingtong with an indescribable urgency. Fei clan. Luo Qingtong looked at him with narrowed eyes. The empress's family? You're Yuan Xue's uncle? Yes. Yes. Evil Dr. Ghost I know Xuer? Fiji was overjoyed when he heard this. He didn't expect Luo Qingtong to call out Yuan Xue's name. Doesn't this mean that Evil Doctor knows Xuer? In this case he should be fine. Chapter 357. Just as he was thinking about this, Luo Qingtong took off her mask. Of course I know her. Isn't my blind eyes and the Luo family's current predicament all thanks to her? Luo Qingtong, who had taken off her mask, had a sweet smile on her face. She looked at him with her empty eyes. The gorgeous, enchanting and unbridled young man was like a bloodthirsty demonic flower in the dark sky. His magnificence was astonishing, but it made Fiji's face turn pale with fright. Luo Qingtong. How could it be her? Fiji's face was full of horror and disbelief. Luo Qingtong was the evil Dr. Ghost Eye. No wonder she was so protective of the Luo family. Then he and the others, with that thought in mind, he stumbled and almost fell to the ground. His eyes were filled with shock as he stared at that extremely beautiful and enchanting face. His mind was completely blank. Why are you surprised? Don't worry, there will be a bigger surprise later. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see it. Luo Qingtong's smile was bloodthirsty and enchanting. She waved her hand. Leave his body intact. I'll go to the Fei family later and give them and the Empress of Tianyu a big gift. They wanted to destroy the Luo family. If she didn't give them a gift in return, how could she be worthy of the Empress of Tianyu and Yuan Xue's kindness? Thinking of the critical moment when she arrived, Luo Qingtong's eyes became more and more bloodthirsty. Luo Qingtong. Fiji's face was pale. He wanted to say something, but a group of martial king realm experts rushed over. He didn't have the chance to speak anymore. Rumble. The sounds of fighting in the Luo family spread far and wide in the quiet night. In Dongli Palace, King Dongli was sitting on a couch with a relaxed expression, listening to the report from his personal servant. Your Majesty, the fighting in the Luo family has stopped. The Luo family must have been destroyed. Your Majesty can rest easy in the future. The servant said flatteringly. Oh, it's over so soon? The Tianyu Empire's Mang Tiger Guard is indeed powerful. Dongli King chuckled. The Luo clan has been annihilated, leaving behind only Luo Qingtong. There is nothing to be afraid of. From now on, the entire Dongli country will be under the control of the royal family. No one will be able to criticize my decrees anymore. His expression was ruthless. Yes, Your Majesty will no longer be bullied by the Luo clan. The attendant smiled apologetically. At this moment, a servant walked in from outside and handed over a name card. Your Majesty, the people from Tianyu Branch Academy have sent us a name card. They say that the entrance examination will be held tomorrow, and they invite Your Majesty to come personally. Oh, King Dongli raised his hand and had someone bring the invitation over. After reading it, he laughed and said, "This Luo Xingning is indeed vicious. The Luo clan has just been exterminated, and she can't wait to instigate Elder Chu to change the date of the entrance examination. At that time, she will be admitted to Tianyu Branch Academy in glory, while the Luo clan will be miserable. She clearly wants the Luo clan to die with grievances." King Dongli knew that the date of the entrance examination of Tianyu Branch Academy had been set long ago. How could it be changed so easily, especially tomorrow? If it wasn't Luo Xingning, who else could it be? His intentions were truly vicious. But it had nothing to do with him. He could take advantage of the great day when the Luo clan was exterminated to watch a show. Chapter 358. At the same time, Luo Xingning walked out of Chu Lao's place with satisfaction. Chu Lao was very happy about the destruction of the Luo family and had promised to change the enrollment date to the next day. "Luo Qingtong, just watch me enter Tianyu Branch School." The daughter of the first wife of the Luo family used to be so high and mighty. Luo Xingning was repeatedly warned that everything in the Luo family would belong to Luo Qingtong. She and Luo Qingtong were worlds apart. But now, the Luo family had been destroyed, and Luo Qingtong had probably been defiled by the people she had arranged, right? With the Mang Tiger guards as the scapegoat, the bandits would not dare to betray her. By then, Luo Qingtong would have to spend the rest of her life in a low-class brothel. He wondered if she would be so angry that she would vomit blood when she woke up in a strange place and heard that he had been admitted to the Tianyu Branch Academy. They all say that my life is not as good as yours. Luo Qingtong, tomorrow I will prove that no matter how good your life is, it is not as good as mine." Luo Xingning said as she broke the flower in her hand and went back to her room. At the same time, in the Luo family, the Mang Tiger guards who came to invade were all killed. Except for Fiji, the rest died without a complete body. Some of them wanted to beg for mercy, but Luo Qingtong did not accept it. She did not lack powerful people. She would not accept anyone who wanted to destroy the Luo family even if they knelt down. The group of people was completely wiped out, and their corpses were all thrown to feed the dogs. At the same time, a group of sneaky people was found in Luo Qingtong's courtyard. They had all sneaked into the Luo family when the array was broken. These people were the bandits that Luo Xingning found. However, at this moment these bandits, who had done all kinds of evil, almost fainted when they saw the powerful people around Luo Qingtong. Luo Xingning asked them to play with such a person. Wasn't this pushing them into the fire pit? The group of people was furious. They quickly told Luo Xingning what she wanted them to do. As he explained, he kowtowed and said that he and the others had been deceived. The group of Martial King realm experts and battle slaves were furious. Why was this Luo Xingning so disgusting? The smile on Luo Qingtong's lips was very deep. "Oh, Luo Xingning asked you to do this?" She raised her hand and knocked on the armrest. "Have you prepared the place and the people?" "Yes," the bandits answered fearfully, not knowing what Luo Qingtong wanted to do. "Yes, then prepare for it. In a few days, I will send someone to you. Just do as Luo Xingning told you." Luo Qingtong smiled coldly. How could he let Luo Xanning's good intentions go to waste? She had to enjoy these painstakingly arranged things for herself. But before that, there was one more thing she had to do. "Qingtong's all of you are. Put on all the equipment." Also, Luo Qingtong raised her hand and threw the 2 elixirs that she had refined to the Martial King realm experts and the battle slaves. "Take these and go to the Fei family. Exterminate her family?" Luo Qingtong looked up at the bright moon that was as big as a wheel in the sky. At this moment, The bright and clear moonlight seemed to be covered with a layer of misty blood under her gaze. Chapter 359. In the spiritual boat, a group of martial king realm and battle slaves took the elixirs given by Luo Qingtong. These elixirs were originally given by Luo Qingtong to the Luo family's iron soldiers, who had their cultivation abolished. The enlightenment elixir increased the power of understanding. The energy-increasing elixir increased the strength. These two elixirs were very good for their recovery. It was the same for the people of Evil Valley. After taking the energy-increasing elixir, those who were at the critical point of their cultivation suddenly broke through the original level. Then they took the enlightenment elixir and broke through again. Everyone's strength broke through 1 or 2 small levels. Some talented ones even broke through 3 levels. Their overall strength had more than doubled. In addition, Luo Qingtong equipped them with weapons and armor. This group of people was not weaker than the direct descendants of the big families in the Tianyu Empire. Among them, the one who benefited the most was the expert at the peak of the martial king realm. Luo Qingtong gave him 2 elixirs with elixir spirit that she had refined before. It helped him break through to the martial royal realm at once. Of course, it was also because his strength had reached the peak, and he had touched the threshold of the martial royal realm. He was half a step into the martial royal realm. Luo Qingtong gently pushed him from behind, and he stepped over it directly. Master, feeling that his strength had broken through the martial king realm and reached the martial royal realm, the expert at the peak of the martial king realm was very surprised. He could not hide his excitement as he looked at Luo Qingtong. He did not know how she did it. According to common sense, even if he had touched the threshold of the martial royal realm, it would take him at least several years to fully comprehend the realm of the martial royal realm. But now he had stepped over it so easily. He felt like he was dreaming. The others were even more shocked and aghast. They knew that their master was powerful, but they didn't know that she was so powerful. Master, this is... The expert who had just reached the martial royal realm looked at the jade bottle in his hand in a trance and asked incredulously. Elixir. Luo Qingtong's answer was concise, but it scared the group of subordinates. Elixir? The group of people looked at the jade bottles in their hands as if they were dreaming. These were elixir? The legendary elixir that was extremely precious and could only be refined by an alchemist? It was said that only one alchemist among countless pharmacists could be found. It was extremely difficult to find one. Alchemists were in the center of the imperial court of the sacred dynasties and royal family. In other places, they had never even seen a shadow of a person. They had only heard of legends. But now, everyone lowered their heads to look at the jade bottles in their hands, and a wave of dizziness washed over them. They had a bottle in their hands. Over 100 bottles of elixir was pills. They had never dared to elixir before. Master, oui. The group stuttered and didn't know what to say. Medicinal pills, this kind of legendary existence, not to mention seeing them. They rarely even heard of them. Now, each of them had actually eaten a bottle? God. They didn't God, Lord, they God Emperor. And Luo Qingtong turned to look at them. What? No, nothing. Looking at her indifferent expression, the group suddenly felt that they were making a fuss over nothing. But these were elixir, not cabbages that could be found on the roadside. Master, isn't your expression a little too calm? Chapter 360. We're here. Luo Qingtong turned to look at the huge city in front of her. In this dark night, the huge imperial city of the Tianyu Empire was like a beast crawling in the dark. At this moment, the city was completely silent. Silence reigned everywhere. Luo Qingtong's gaze swept across the most conspicuous palace in the distance, and her lips curled into a smile silently. I didn't expect to be back so soon. The lesson I taught you last time wasn't enough. Empress of Tianyu, Yuan Shui, are you ready to receive the surprise I have for you? Luo Qingtong's smile grew more bloodthirsty as she spoke. Turn northwest to the Fei residence. At this moment, Patriarch Fei and his sons were still awake and discussing matters in the Fei residence. Nothing must go wrong with the hidden funds collected from various places. Send someone to check them and hand them over to the imperial family in 2 days. Otherwise, we won't be able to bear the consequences if the emperor blames us, Patriarch Fei said sternly. The hidden funds were collected from various places in the Tianyu Empire on the orders of the imperial family. The imperial family's treasury had been stolen, and the imperial family had become paupers. This batch of hidden funds had been collected by the imperial family to deal with the emergency. However, this matter would damage the imperial family's reputation and couldn't be discussed openly. Therefore, the Fei family was the best choice. After all, they were from the empress's maternal family. Yes, father, don't worry. The hidden funds have been counted, and we can report to the emperor tomorrow, the Fei family's sons replied. Family head Fei replied with some dissatisfaction. Gee, has always been in charge of this matter, and he knows best how many there are. If I knew this batch of hidden funds would arrive so quickly, I would never have agreed to let him destroy the Luo family at this time. It's just a marquee residence from a low-level country. Just send a group of people to destroy it. Why bother Jier? Don't they know if they have the guts to do so? Patriarch Fei was very dissatisfied. In his opinion, the empress was too indecisive. In this aspect, she was not as good as Shui. If it was him, since he was unhappy with this marriage, he would take advantage of the fact that the fifth prince was not around to wipe out the entire Luo clan. Even if the fifth prince was dissatisfied, the matter had already been done. Could it be that he could still go against his own mother? Yet, he had to let the fifth prince do as he pleased, causing the imperial family to lose all face. As the Fei family head was speaking, he didn't know that the Luo family, which he had been talking about, had already annihilated Fiji and the others. At this moment, Luo Qingtong was already above the Fei family. As one of the top clans in the Tianyu Empire, the Fei clan occupied a large area in the Tianyu imperial city. Naturally, the target was very obvious. Luo Qingtong found the location of the Fei family without much effort. Looking down from the sky, Luo Qingtong could see that the Fei family was densely packed with all sorts of guards and sentries. In the center of the mansion, there was an array set up. Although it was very simple in Luo Qingtong's eyes, compared to other aristocratic families, this defense was considered decent. Unfortunately, tonight, all of this would turn into ashes. Wait here first. Luo Qingtong instructed and jumped off the spirit ship. Earth-level spirit ships did not have the ability to conceal themselves. But this was nothing to Luo Qingtong. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.